Welcome to Weight Loss and Wellness for Real, the podcast where people like you get the practical solutions and support you need to permanently lose the physical and mental weight so you can feel better and live the life you want in the body and mind you want. If you're looking to overcome your stress eating, overeating, binging behaviors, and move to a place of freedom with food and your body, you're in the right place. Just a reminder that this podcast represents my own opinions. The content here should not be taken as medical advice. The content here is for educational and informational purposes only. Please consult your doctor or healthcare professional for any individual medical questions you may have. Hello, friends, and welcome. Thanks for being here and listening today. I am recording this outside, which I've never done before, but it is early morning and I could just not bring myself to go inside to record this where I normally record these episodes. So you are going to hear some background noise, some birds, I am guessing, maybe some other noises that tend to happen in this neighborhood. So I apologize for maybe a little bit less sound quality. I know the sound quality on these is not always great anyway, but just kind of how I roll with these episodes right now through an app, which isn't always optimal in sound quality, but today is probably a little noisier. So bear with me. I needed more sunshine this morning. So today we are going to talk about when to throw away the scale and when you might want to keep it. This is a hot topic with many of my clients. I've been on a journey with the scale off and on over the years. So some personal issues with the scale. And I'm sure most of you listening have most likely had this experience where you're trying really hard to lose a couple pounds, and so you're many, many pounds. And so, you're really on it for a week. Like you really are trying hard with your food, your drink, maybe you're working out more and then you step on the scale and it's up 2 pounds from where you started a week ago. And what happens next for most of us is a thought like, seriously, I tried so hard this week and I've actually gained weight. Screw this. I will never lose weight. My body can't lose weight. And typically then the feelings of defeat and frustration appear. And then the behaviors that are driven from those feelings, which are often more screw it eating. So now you find yourself overeating, over drinking throughout the day. And then the feelings, of course, of guilt and shame step in, and those will often lead to more overeating, or sometimes then restriction again and deprivation, which then, of course, starts the cycle all over again of restricting, depriving, overeating, shame, restricting, depriving, overeating. Either way, it often leads to more overeating or over drinking with some time. And this is how the scale itself can create that self-sabotage. Now, the truth is it's not actually the scale, right? The scale is just an inert object. It records a number. When you step on it, we are actually the ones who do create our own self-sabotage. But that scale, or the number on the scale, can trigger the thoughts, that trigger the feelings, that trigger the behaviors that create the self-sabotage. So continue to listen on to learn when you might want to ditch the scale, because sometimes we really do need to do that to lose weight, and how at other times the scale can actually be a really wonderful tool to help you lose weight and maintain weight. I hope you are finding something useful from these episodes and this podcast, and if so, please share it with someone else in your life you feel it could benefit. This podcast is also now monetized, so if you really feel you are getting a lot from it and want to help keep it going, please go to the episode show notes. You can just scroll down from wherever you're listening. You'll see a description of the episode, and then you will see it says support this podcast, and then there's a link you can click on. You can click on that link, and that's where you can support the podcast. Even the smallest donation, like 99 cents, helps to keep me producing the podcast. And to those of you who have donated, I really, really appreciate the support. I really do appreciate all of you listening and sharing the space with me. Again, just very thankful for all of you. So I actually do own a scale, but have maybe stepped on it 2 or 3 times in the past year. I also have quite a few clients who do not like using the scale. For those of us who have, issues, in quotation marks, issues with the scale, or I should say with the number on the scale, I find that sometimes ditching the scale can be a really important strategy to lose weight. With that said, I have quite a few clients who have no issue whatsoever with the number on the scale. They simply use the scale as a tool, which is the way it should be used, to keep themselves somewhat accountable, and use the number as a piece just simply of information on where they are at in their journey. And in this case, the scale is actually a really helpful tool for these clients. So when should you utilize a scale, which can be a helpful tool in losing weight? And when should you ditch the scale, which can be a harmful tool when trying to lose weight? So the first question you really want to ask yourself is, do I have an emotional reaction when I step on the scale and see the number? And by the way, this goes both ways. If the number is higher than you desire, do you feel defeated, frustrated, want to give up? Or if the number is lower than you expected, do you feel elated or overly excited? Both dramatic reactions, dramatic emotions, either way, negative or positive, are really clues that you have too much invested emotionally in a number on the scale. And this is a pretty good hint to ditch the scale for a while. If you step on the scale and the number is higher than you expected, and you have pretty neutral feelings about it, pretty neutral thoughts, usually because you have practiced thoughts around the scale number, like, well, I know that weight fluctuates a lot in a 24-hour period. I will weigh again in a week and just pay attention to the trend of my weight. Or, interesting that I'm up 2 pounds. I'll look back on this past week and see where my actions could maybe be tweaked this week to get the number trending down again. This is where the scale number produces feelings of curiosity and interest, wanting to use the number on the scale as simply a tool to create more weight loss. And this is where you should hold on to the scale, as then it's a really useful tool and will actually reinforce more weight loss. So if the scale number produces pretty dramatic emotions in you, negative or positive, then it's probably time to take a break from the scale. If the scale number produces feelings of curiosity and interest, then definitely keep using it. If you decide you need to ditch the scale for a while in order to help with your weight loss journey, then it is still, I believe personally, it's still really important to implement other tools to help you know if you are gaining, losing, or maintaining. And so I want to give you just a few ideas. And there's lots of other ones, but I want to give you a few that you can try if you decide to get rid of the scale for a while. So you could use measurements, and these are still numbers, but many of us don't have an emotional attachment to these particular numbers because most of us have not used measurements of our body regularly. So taking measurements around the hips, waist, legs, arms, etc. once a week can help you see where your body composition is trending. You could also use weekly full body photos. So wear the same clothes, take the photos on the same day of the week, same time of day. You are not going to see differences usually in those weekly, like from week to week photos, but after about a month, you can start to see where your body is trending. And last idea, and this is my personal favorite because it's just easy, is using a pair of what I like to call honesty pants. And these are a pair of pants that are kind of tight, maybe a pair you used to fit into but don't anymore, or a pair you want to fit better than they currently do, or maybe just to feel more comfortable than they are currently feeling. And so you would try these honesty pants on once a week, same day, same time of day, and write down a few notes on how they feel. How are they fitting? After a few weeks, you will notice if they are starting to feel looser, tighter, staying the same, etc. So all those tools are great for tracking maintenance as well. So if you're in maintenance, You can use some of those to track maintenance as well. And if you decide you do not react overly emotionally to the scale, and you decide it is a tool that works well for you in your weight loss or weight maintenance, weight maintenance journey, then my best tip on using the scale is to weigh once a day on the same, best advice, to weigh once a day on the same time of day, preferably in the morning after you go to the bathroom, before you eat or drink anything. And then enter that number that pops up on the scale in an app that averages your weight over time. And the app I often give my clients, and I like to use for this, is called Happy Scale, and the free version works fine for this. After a week of entering your weight every day, the app will tell you your average weight for that week. And obviously, you can average your weight with paper and pencil as well. You don't have to have an app. You just have to do some math. But over time of doing this, you are going to get such a much more accurate idea of where your weight is trending. Is your weight trending up? Is it trending down? Is it trending and maintaining? So your average weight over time will tell you this. Daily scale numbers cannot give you this information. Okay, so if you're weighing daily, those numbers cannot tell you which way your weight is actually going, because you don't have a trend. So knowing that our weight can fluctuate dramatically in a 24-hour period is really important to acknowledge. So you weigh in on Tuesday and your weight is 160, and you weigh in on Wednesday and it's 155. You're so excited you lost 5 pounds, right? No, you didn't. It's impossible for a human body to drop 5 pounds of body fat in 24 hours. So we do not want to give much credence to the number on the scale daily. It's only that number only becomes valid when you have lots of those numbers averaged over time. And some of my clients do not like to weigh daily. That's the optimal way to use the scale, is to weigh daily and use the average. So I have a lot of clients who do just weigh once weekly, and then they take the trend over a couple of months, right? So after about 4 weeks of weighing weekly, we can kind of get a trend of where things are going. But obviously the optimal way would be to have more numbers, which means weighing daily. And then also one other reminder, muscle does weigh more than fat, but muscle takes up a lot less room. So, you can Google this and see photos of people who weigh the same amount on the scale, but have very, very different body composition. A bodybuilder who looks extremely lean can weigh just as much as someone who appears obese. And this is really important for any of you trying to lose body fat, but also the importance of possibly incorporating strength training, which, I hope all of you are. It's really important for optimal health and longevity. You want to make sure you have your mind right about this. So really incorporating the knowledge that if you are working to change body composition and not just lose weight, not just get a lower number on the scale, that number on the scale might not be able to be where you really want it to be. Like if you're really attached to getting that scale to read a particular number. But if you are really trying to change body composition, become healthy and all those things, so you are trying to build or at least maintain the muscle you have, that number that you are hoping for on the scale might not be possible in order for you to have the body composition that you are wanting. Okay, so that's just some basic information on how the scale can be an incredible tool for weight loss, and also how it can be not such an incredible tool for weight loss, but also how our thoughts about the number on the scale can create more weight gain, because our thoughts about that number can create that self-sabotage. It's really important to be honest with yourself about where you are at in your thoughts about the scale and the number that it feeds back to you. If you are overly emotional about it, positive or negative, take a break from it to help with your weight loss goals. I really hope you found something useful. This was kind of one of those practical episodes. If so, please pass along the podcast or give a review from whatever platform you're listening from. These things are really, really appreciated by me and really help the podcast grow. And for those of you who have donated on a monthly basis to keeping this podcast going. I really, really, really appreciate your support. Thank you for being here and for sharing this space with me. We will talk soon. Did you know you can find a lot more help from me on my website? Go to heatherheynen.com. Heynen is spelled Heynen, and get in touch with questions on all things I offer, like online courses for overeating, weight loss, goal attainment, and also my coaching and counseling services.